Thank you, Patricia, for joining me today. So for those of you watching, this is Patricia Lynn from ExceedCE. Welcome and thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about ExceedCE? Like, what do you do? And yeah, how do you help people?
Sure. And Rebecca, thank you very much for your time here. I'm looking forward to this talk. ExceedCE is an online real estate continuing education platform with a little bit of a twist. And that is, it started out as a company that provides continuing education, which is a mandatory requirement for real estate agents, depending on what state they're in. And when we started the company, we sent a survey out of about 100,000 people. And the responses we got said, continuing education is necessary for us, but we'd really pay more and be interested in the fact that if we're going to spend our time taking mandatory CE, we'd like to learn something too. So as lifelong educators, learners, real estate practitioners, my business partner and I decided that we would start a company that brought our personal experience to the education courses that we offered. And I don't think you asked me what makes us different, but that's what we believe makes us different and is our value proposition.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. How long has ExceedCE been around?
We've been up and running about 3 years. We've been full speed ahead for about the last year or so.
Awesome. And who would be your ideal customer?
Sure. Our ideal customer is really twofold. We found something interesting along the way. We were designing courses for our first ideal customer, which was the real estate agent who needed their courses renewed. But we found out along the way that even pre-COVID and lockdown, there were a lot of companies, agencies, organizations that had content that they wanted to provide online. And so what evolved was our ability to make companies' personal content available to their customers. So our other ideal customer is the partner that we take their subject matter experts and provide access to that on our self-paced online platform.
Yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, you're able to really help bring their content and help it reach a lot more people and be a lot more accessible.
You bet. And one thing I wanted to add too is we have a fun tagline, and it was born out of the survey that we put out to our potential markets. And that tagline is renew your license, renew yourself. And we really work hard to live up to that value proposition of you're spending the time to renew your license, so why not get something out of it that's applicable, that you can use and have a fresh, renewed perspective and approach to your business that will be useful, help make money, and serve your clients better. So thanks for
Awesome.
letting me put that in there.
Yeah, I love that. That makes a lot more sense and kind of shows also how you guys are different as well.
You bet. You bet.
And I know that you recently partnered with Abe Lee, who is based in Hawaii. Can you tell me a little bit about that partnership?
Sure. That's an example of our second type of market, if you will. Abe Lee is a wonderful real estate practitioner and educator on Oahu. And we reached out to Abe about 6 months ago or so, understanding that the Hawaiian real estate license renewal period is up at the end of November. And we suggested that we might take some of Abe Lee's content that he offers live and on Zoom and make that available to our customers um, on a self-paced basis as well. So we formed a partnership. I got to fly over to Hawaii for 48 hours and meet Abe and kick the partnership off. But it's really to combine the best of both of our worlds. Abe's wonderful knowledge and reputation and content, and then our online platform.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be great, or it is great. It's neat too that this month everybody that's in Hawaii that's renewing their licenses are able to do that through ExceedCE, and this makes it a lot easier and probably a lot more convenient.
We're excited about it, and mahalo nui loa to our Hawaiian partners and customers.
Awesome. And what's your favorite part about what you do?
Okay. My favorite part is that I'm able to infuse my own creativity. My mother is an artist, and in the real estate business per se, we have a chance to be creative in our deal structures, but I like the ability and opportunity to meet people, listen carefully, find out what they need, and then use my creativity to create content and develop content that might be helpful to them that's a little different. That's what I like the best about it.
Yeah, awesome. And what would you consider a couple of your biggest wins?
My biggest wins. I would say biggest win first was branding this company. I mentioned a long-term time educator. I've always been in real estate, but I've also taught. I've taught for the CCIM Institute for a number of years. And one of my biggest wins was actually being able to brand and go live with this concept. The other really biggest win that has been pivotal has been the partnerships that we've started to form. A couple of them we mentioned, Abe Lee. Another one is CBO, Washington Commercial Brokers Association in Washington, and they're an organization of 4,500 commercial agents, and we have about 10 or 15 courses from subject matter experts in the Washington area, and they know that they can come to us to complete all of the course requirements. And it's new, great content. They've got a great content team that is videotaping these, and they're just, I'm very proud of them. So
Awesome.
that's a huge win and something that we look forward to more of.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. And I love that you're able to partner with these people that are doing great content too and feature them on. It helps to strengthen, I think, both ExceedCE and your partners at the same time. So I love the collaboration.
Yes, ma'am.
What's one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were starting all over again?
So let's see. Starting over again, I would probably bring in more partners earlier, look for more partners earlier. I'm not a hugely well-known story, but we started this as something that we did as an aside in addition to our real jobs, our consulting and law and brokerage practices. So I probably would have jumped in with both feet earlier than I did, rather than bridging the gap for a while doing both things. I'm a big believer in focus and focused attention to help you become successful.
That makes sense. So, and you mentioned earlier that ExceedCE was started 3 years ago. Was it the first 2 years that it was kind of a little bit part-time, but this last year you've been more full-time with it?
Really, the last 2 years or so, it's been full-time, more full-time. Yeah, you bet.
Awesome. Where do you see ExceedCE growing into in the next 12 months?
Sure. Right now, we are in 10 states, 10 U.S. states, approved differently through a different process by each state. I would like to be in 25 states. Right now, we have two really strong, great partnerships. And my goal is to have 5 partnerships total by the end of next year. I think we'll exceed that. I think we'll exceed that. But my goal would be to have at least 5 partnerships that are as strong as the 2 that we currently have.
Awesome. That's exciting. What are your top tips for other entrepreneurs?
Well, I think my best tip came from my mother. when I would call my mother and say, gosh, I'm working really hard and what? and my mother would always say, and still says, it's what it takes. It's what it takes. Your dad worked hard. He had respect for the people he worked with. He was a great leader and he focused. And so I guess my one tip would be realize it takes focus. It takes hard work and it takes focus. And the other is I'm a martial artist, which and I compete on a national basis. I'm on a team with some great kids who become stunt people, and I'm on the executive team. And I hang my medals, and I do okay, by the way, but I hang my medals on a medal holder that's about 15 inches long, and it says, never give up. Never give up. And I've decided to put that up closer to the front of my desk, but if I were to have one tip, it would be just never give up.
That's really good. I like that. You may have already answered this a bit with the martial art, but what would we maybe find you doing on one of your days off?
Yeah, probably practicing my martial arts. I'll relate that to the never give up. And what I love about the martial arts is it's a lifelong journey and adventure. And they say once you have a black belt, then you turn into a white belt all over again. The black belt material has worn through, and you start learning. The metaphor is that you are continually learning at the next levels. And I think that's why I like learning so much, is because it's a lifelong quest. And so as it relates to what would I do, something, I know it sounds kind of corny, but something where I could be continually improving, getting better. And the martial arts offers me an opportunity to do that. You'll never, ever be the best at it.
Yeah, I think that shows too. Yeah, you wanting to do it on even your days off and you're wanting to keep getting better at it. It's kind of a good example too of, anything you want to be great at, you have to keep at it. You have to keep studying and practicing. So awesome.
Yeah.
And then one more question for you. So if you could travel anywhere, where would it be and why?
Okay. I read a lot about travel. I've traveled a lot. I like developing countries. I've been fortunate to be going to Asia for the last 20 years to teach, actually, real estate agents, developers, government officials. And one place that I'm fascinated by is Mongolia. And that's because I've done a lot of reading about Genghis Khan. And Genghis Khan had one reputation, but he also had, excuse me, another reputation for bringing literacy, unifying a language, getting rid of nepotism, etc., bringing in Western medicine. And so in those readings, I have this goal. of riding across the plains where Genghis Khan rode his horse through the steppes of Mongolia. So that's at the top of my list right now.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thank you, Patricia, so much for meeting with me and taking the time to do this interview. It was great having you. For those of you watching, if you want to learn more about Patricia and ExceedCE, be sure to visit her website. Make sure to have the website link and all her social media down below. Is there anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so. Just go forth and prosper. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much.